back. Okay, so if you see this entire layout, it's basically all the tuners I've looked through and just basically picked out and I guess possess some sort of potential, right? Like throughout, like some of these tuners are way back, like over 10 years old, and even now with the new support they can probably resurface because we have new support. But the intention of that particular tuner is what matters the most, because what are you going to use it for, right? You don't want to be using something that's like graveyard related for something that's not really graveyard related and trying to like maneuver your way to make it become graveyard related, if that makes any sense. So you're basically going against the grain and just trying to do a particular sequence when it's going out of your way and not considering what other sequences might be more beneficial with that particular card. And that's what basically what I'm talking about in this video, because a lot of tuners have, I guess not much has changed if you really think about it, but like the ones that are decent, the ones that come to mind are still significantly powerful, especially since Crystal Tornado Fiber or Halic Fiber X is going to come out. Because you just basically get to, it's basically a synchro summon through a link summon, and it gives you a tuner. And the first one that comes to mind is Steam the Cloak, Global, Jet Synchron, Plexper Zombie, right? Like those are the main ones because they recur themselves. Like once you use them, what's it called? Where's the other one? Yeah, these are the ones that mainly come to mind. And because they recur them, they give you some sort of, I guess, resource after they've been utilized, right? Like for example, right, Steam the Cloak, it can bring itself back, it gives you a token, right? Plex Burner, you can synchro with it and then bring it back by simply putting any card on top of your deck. Jet Synchron, similar thing, you use it, you just bring it back by discarding any card. Global, it brings itself back simply by building a card. Olion, it gives you a token, right? And trying to figure out how to utilize in an optimal way has always been, okay, how can we make something out of this particular sequence, right? That's how you basically initiate a combo. And that's where synchro enthusiasts just are just wondering, because like it's up to someone to like put in the effort and figure out a combo sequence and have it be viable, not casually viable but competitively viable, for the rest of us to see, right? And that's essentially what I do. But it's kind of like, even I get like stuck in a rut, and I'm still like, you know, because coming up with decks, coming up with new combos, coming up with a new deck takes effort, takes time, and it can be discouraging at times, and like figure, oh man, like I hit a brick wall, I'm not sure where to take it from here, you know. It's like, but that's the fun and the frustrating part about it. But anyways, the reason why I'm bringing this video is because this new card just came out, right? Junk Converter. Okay, so this is basically the topic of the video. I'm gonna be talking about Junk Converter and how to utilize it properly, right? Because like we can go through all the tuners, and like for example, look at the top row. This is like all of the hand traps, right? All the hand trap tuners. But you don't really want to be discarding those. Like, of course they can, if you view it in a sense where it can be a hand trap, and if you don't utilize it, then that means it becomes a combo piece. So that's versatility in itself right there, right? So, like, some people might view it that way. Some people are like, oh, I'm gonna use my hand trap guaranteed and not having to discard for Junk Converter. But that's the point of that aspect of having that multi-purpose card. You can use it for a hand trap to interact, or you can use it for your own combo piece. And that goes the same thing for the bottom row, right? You have like a bunch of these tuners that do really well in the graveyard and do things when they go to the graveyard. For example, right, like let's say for whatever reason you can find a way to make us Blackwing junk, like this is like years ago when this was like, when value was like huge. It was like, oh my god, value is amazing, because it was like another way of synchro summoning. It was like what? Let's do synchro from the grave? Like that's crazy. But yeah, there's a time where I messed around with a Blackwing Junk Doppel deck where, because the effect, I wasn't sure if it was like the condition or if it was just the effect of value where its effects negated, right? So when Junk brings it back, you simply negate its effects and you summon your Doppel and you make a librarian and you use it as a level 1/2 to make a formula. But like, since its Value's effect is that you can't use it as a synchro material except for a Blackwing, right? Or you can't even use it. Yeah, when it's face up on the field, you can't even use it. But since Junk Synchro negates effects, it bypasses that, so you can just utilize it. And then after that, you'll like find a way to like get a Blackwing to the graveyard and then synchro summon that way, and then just continue your synchro climb that way. And then like of course there's Steam the Cloak, which like if you discard it with like all this second row is basically like considering how Junk pairing it with Junk Converter will benefit it, right? It's just basically if you grab set up Steam the Cloak, it could come back, right? But that means whatever it is you're using it for, it can't be for a synchro summon unless you have a Blackwing monster. And same thing for the Strudel, it's basically free, you just bring it back. Like you just discard for it, you're not really losing anything. It's basically a Rhoda because the Strudel brings itself back, and that's the type of tuners you want to be having paired up with a Junk Converter. Same thing with Plex Spreader. It's a bit. I mean, I guess through the sequencing, you'll regenerate more resources because you're gonna be drawing off Librarian and then using its effect. It won't be as much of an issue because the cards you're drawing is just plus anyways. It's top deck, bring it back. And then of course Jet Sync Run is one of the almost like it's the amazing tuner. You discard any card and bring itself back, so that's really good. So the fact that you can set up a Junk Converter and Jet Sync Run is amazing because it gives you the Junk Doppel play you normally would have, and the combo that it's like basically known throughout Yu-Gi-Oh, like Junk Doppel level 1 tuner, that's Librarian and a bunch of draws, right? Effect Veiler, it's a hand trap. It's level 1, which is what you want to make your formula, which is why you want to pair it with Doppel. And the fact that it can interact with your opponent, that's like quite big. Then of course you have, oh, this is not meant to be there. I'll just put this over here somewhere. And then you have Global, of course. Global and Junk Converter is just, wow, like they just go so well together. Like it's just amazing. Like it's really, really good. And then of course Glow Bloom. It can be a bit tricky because after you use Glow Bloom, you can't special summon anything other than zombies. But like, it's a bit weird, right? Like maybe like try and like find a way to like keep it on the field. Okay, for example, right? For example, let's say you discard it. You discard Glow Bloom for Junk Converter, right? Your Junk Converter adds your Quick Draw, right? And then your Quick Draw brings back your Junk Converter, making a speeder, right? And then Junk Converter's effect will summon a tuner back from the graveyard, so you bring back the Glow Bloom. And because you don't have to necessarily trigger the Glow Bloom that the moment it's going to the graveyard, so just keep it on field. Do your other sequences first, right? Like just synchro, and then at the end synchro with Glow Bloom, and then trigger its effect to add a zombie from deck to your hand, or special summon if you have Zombie World, right? That's pretty cool. So like having a boss monster like Doom King, or like what's that? Doom King. What's the name of the? Yeah, this guy. They're boss monster, right? Like this guy. Having this guy as another like boss monster on top of what you just sequenced out is really, really good. This one's kind of fallen out of the equation because it's I mean it's recurable, but it's I don't know. I guess it's possible because like you just have to, you just have to have 5 more extra deck monsters than your opponent, and then it can just bring itself back. So this is debatable. I mean, it is possible. You go through your extra deck quite fast. And then Spore, similar to bulb, but it requires a little bit more grave setup. You just need to have a plant, and that's I mean, unless this is what I mean. Like, unless your deck is built a certain way, this can shine much brighter if you accommodate for it, right? It'll be more consistent in the fact that you're considering this as a card. And then another card that's pretty decent, the Fabled Catfish, right? So let's say you pair this with Junk Converter, right? It'll be like you like, would you want to go make a second build, you know, like, and this effect is not once per turn, so like the cards you discard for it will always pop a card. So it's a level 1 tuner. It'll kind of replace itself, since through card economy, right? Like you'll search a card, you discard a card, but you pop a card, so you kind of even it out that way in a sense. And baiting out Macabre Negate, baiting out of like some sort of Omni Negate, right? It'll just be amazing. But like, it's kind of weird because they'll either like let's say you want to bait like 2 things, right? So like they'll either have to negate the Junk Converter or negate the Catfish, right? Because like they know that you're gonna search, and that's the cool little neat thing that you can do. You can set it up to where, okay, do they want to negate it or not, or you force it, because what else? Like if you activate it, right, and you discard the Catfish, are they gonna negate this, or are they gonna negate the Catfish? Like they have this dilemma in their hands, like, oh, they wouldn't want to negate. So it's just basically forcing something out. And then of course you have Mist Valley Baby Rock. This is pretty cool because it recurs itself. Like when this card is directly sent from your hand to the graveyard, you can special summon it. So that's what you want to be paired up with Junk Converter, because things like that, just you don't lose anything out of it. There's no value lost. Same thing with some of the Fabled cards, right? This one not so much, because it's not really like you need a Fabled. But this one most likely it's a tuner. If this card is discarded to the graveyard, you can special summon it. So that's cool. Like that's really good. You want to just have a lot of board presence and not just discard something that you will not be getting value out of it. Does that make sense? You don't want that to happen. That's something you have to consider highly. And then you have like the other tuners, like semi-decent, where they've replaced themselves as they leave the field, which is pretty cool. And then the rest is just basically like just generic tuners that you can utilize. But what I'm trying to point out is all these tuners will not work with Junk Converter, right? Like they can, but like at a much in-depth look, it kind of contradicts, because this initiates your normal summon, right? This is initiating your primary normal summon. So everything apart from this, because that's 3 Junk Synchrons, 3 tunings, 3 Junk Converters. So that's a lot of ways to get the Junk Synchron. So that's like priority. That's gonna be your main thing you want to normal summon. So everything else apart from that has to be able to aid that particular play, right? To either set up for Junk Synchron or force things out and remove those hinders that would be there and prevent you from having your Junk Synchron resolve. Does that make sense? Yeah. But yeah, like all these tuners are just highly considerable, because they're just decent, and depending on what they're utilized for, that's what the bottom line is. Like, what are you gonna use it for? And that's how you're gonna make it the most optimal, right? Because a lot of you have been requesting my my opinion on all the synchro decks I've put out. Which is the best one? What's the differences? And I am gonna do that. I just want to put this video out there so you can kind of make more sense. So when I do that video, I covered most of the I guess the issues and I guess the doubts or questions of what to consider when you're playing that deck. But yeah, there's quite a bit of decent tuners. There's a lot of decent synchro tuners. Like this card is like one of the MVPs of the deck when you're playing Junk Doppel, because it recurs all your level 2s. It brings back Doppel Warrior, and a Formula Synchron, Chris Strong Quandax, This new one, Desert Locust, is like a mega, right? And then Metal Marcher, like, it's amazing. It's just keep recurring your cards. That's what you want to be doing with Synchro. And then Level Manipulation is a big one as well, because it lets you be versatile when you're sequencing off. It lets you manipulate your board to the given scenario to be able to go for that specific synchro that will help you that particular turn. And then TG, this is a bit, I guess, more niche, because you gotta make it with a TG monster. No, but and then Tatsunoko lets you synchro from your hand. That's pretty cool. And then TG1, because Crystal Lunar Fiber, it's just amazing. And then of course how could I not mention one of the best cards, supposedly, Theseus, right? It's a big it contradicts with Junk Speeder, because you can't summon anything else other than Synchros that turn. But like if you play any other deck, like any type of like Synchro deck, this can be considered as well, because it's instant fusion and any monster gives you Needle Fiber, and then it gives you options to play like cards that recur fusions or something like that, or like yeah, it just broadens the capabilities of what your intentions are meant to be doing. But yeah, I didn't really cover the last 3 rows, but hopefully it made a bit much more sense of what I'm trying to say. Like, all these tuners are like decent, and depending on what it is that you're trying to do, like you can't try to use some of these tuners and try to do what the recent builds I showcased do. Does that make sense? Okay, yeah, there we go. That's a better way to put it. So like, you know how the decks I've showed you with like the Symphonic engine, the Lunar Light engine, like you can't play like all these tuners, like let's say play I don't know, like play Scapegoat when you want to like do some other strategy of flipping it face up and using its tuners, its tokens as link materials, or as tuners, as non-tuner materials to like climb. So you can't really use that in that particular deck, because it's something completely different. So you got to make sure you optimize it and not go against the grain and force a particular sequence that's not very consistent in its own nature. But yeah, hopefully it's like just a train of thought. Just maybe wanted my thought process on this, a little bit of my input. Just maybe you're like on break or something, or just, I don't know, you're just bored at home. Just listen to this and hear me talk about tuners, because look at all these tuners. It's just so cool. But yeah, that's basically gonna be it. That's all I wanted to cover. Yeah, and then I'll get ready and start doing the other video and be like a more visual, where I actually have the physical card. But I want to quickly just get this out of the way, show you guys all the tuners that have potential and like some sort of like decent qualities to them. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe if you haven't, and thanks for watching.